Hello everyone, Wolfie here. Are you stoked about TBC as much as I am? I surely hope so. Today we're gonna talk about changes that each race will experience while marching through the Dark Portal and some mechanics that are subject to change as well. Since I spent most of my WoW career playing TBC, I was an absolute noob when Classic Vanilla came out. Racials were almost fully different from what I was used to, and that trip to the past left me in the dust compared to other players. From that reason, I figured that this kind of a guide will actually be useful for players who never stepped into TBC, or they played vanilla for too long that they forgot how their favorite races are gonna look like in TBC. So without further talk, let's get into it. As a true Horde player, I'll start from Orcs. As one of the best racers for min-maxing in World of Warcraft, Orcs received a lot of changes. Blood Fury was giving only attack power in vanilla, but now in TBC it's gonna give spell damage and healing as well. Blood Fury is gonna be very good in TBC. Decreased healing drawback is still there, but the whole duration of drawback is reduced to 15 from 25 seconds, meaning quick burst for short vulnerability. Hardiness made Orcs quite formidable in vanilla PvP. With 25% chance to resist stun, meant that 1 out of 4 stuns were resisted on average. This is gonna be nerfed to 15%, and that's good news for Alliance players, but not so much for Orcs. Weapon skill rework in TBC will affect races as well, thus Orcs' axe specialization will get reworked also. Previously in vanilla, Orcs had +5 weapon skill with axes, but now in TBC they will have +5 expertise. What the hell is expertise? Don't worry, it's quite easy to understand. 1 point of expertise decreases the chance that melee attacks made by the player will be dodged or parried by 0.25%. In TBC you will have a maximum amount of level skill to achieve not to miss target with your melee attack. But adding expertise on top of that will grant you a higher chance of actually dealing damage instead of being dodged or parried. And last, racial perk for Orcs hasn't changed. Damage dealt by Hunter and Warlock pets is gonna remain the same. Next race is Undead, but there aren't any changes done upon them. They are not any more fleshy than before. Cannibalize is channel ability which requires humanoid corpse in 5 yards vicinity in order to be used. It will heal you 7% of your total HP, every 2 seconds for 10 seconds. Underwater breathing allows you to stay submerged for 3 times longer period of time than other races, apart from Amphibious Warlock class. Being a dark race of their own, they go against the saying, like kills like, as they have a natural resistance to shadow damage themselves. Lastly, they are resistant to fear as well, because, well, just look at that cute face, it's gonna fear you before you fear it. Right next to Unbalanced Undeads stand Taurens, as Blizzard didn't see any need to change them either. Endurance will still be granting 10% more HP on top of your calculated HP, which is the second best thing they could think of for characters of this size. First being increased strength, but hey, this is still good enough, right? As a race close to nature, they learn how to be resistant to it, to some extent, and they still give up wearing shoes so they can warstomp the ground. Oh, and they still like to pick flowers, even on different planets. When it comes to trolls, there have been slight changes. Troll warriors and hunters in vanilla had increased weapon skill with thrown and bows by 5. Since TBC is gonna bring changes to all races which have these kind of perks, trolls won't be an exception. In TBC, trolls are gonna have their critical chance with bows and thrones increased by 1%. As for other racial perks, trolls have increased health regeneration by 10% even during combat. Increased damage dealt to beast type mobs by 5%, which makes them awesome farmers and faster levelers. And last perk is OP Berserking, which increases your casting speed, both melee and spellcasts, by 10 to 30%. The percentage of increased speed is proportional to the amount of HP your character is missing at the moment of ability activation. At full HP, your speed is increased by 10%, but if you're really badly hurt, your speed will be increased by 30%. Last and newest Horde race are Blood Elves. Of course, information I'm gonna share with you is not changed but newly added. Firstly, enchanting skill is increased by 10% from the start, meaning you will be able to learn your recipes earlier and get to 375 enchanting skill faster. Second perk is magic resistance to all schools of magic by 5. Recent usage of fell crystals as magic source made Blood Elves more resilient to all other sources of magic. Last perks I like to mention in a pair. Mana Tab plus Arcane Torrent are highly unique among the races. Mana Tab drains about 50 to 100 mana from the target and buffs you with 1 stack of Mana Tab, which stacks up to maximum of 3. Arcane Torrent is an ability that silences enemies in 8 yards radius on 2 minutes cooldown and replenishes your mana for each of your Mana Tab stacks. At level 70 it's gonna replenish about 450 to 500 mana, and at level 60 just over 400. So I'd argue that it's mainly useful for range pull mana based mobs and silence them when needed, more than just for mana replenishment. Now let's move on to the Alliance races changes. Humans, as most usual pick for players, got small changes when it comes to weapon skill. Just like Orcs, they no longer have +5 weapon skill, as it has been changed to +5 expertise with maces and swords, both one-handers and two-handers, giving humans the edge when it comes to high DPS upkeep in endgame wielding legendary swords. Apart from new version of weapon perk, humans have Diplomacy, which gives them +10% on reputation gains. This will be extra useful in early stages of the TBC expansion, where reputation plays a major role. Getting to revert sooner means that you will be able to purchase heroic instance keys sooner and get better gear from there, or that faction quartermasters will sell you gear pieces sooner as well. The human spirit perk grants you 10% more spirit on top of your calculated spirit, which is once again very useful when it comes to human priests and other caster classes. Last human perk is more of a PvP counter ability to horde druids and rogues. Perception increases stealth detection for 20 seconds. In PvE it's really situationally used, but definitely not useless. Seems to me as if Blizzard really favored humans from the start. Why do people play Orcs so much then, huh?
Elves are here to serve the Alliance, thus you will obey my commands to the letter. Is that clear?
That's why. Dwarves received changes in package with Orcs, humans and trolls. Their weapon skill with guns is now changed to +1 critical chance with guns. How to make Dwarves more playable? Download the add-on that turns your gun sounds into bow sounds. Peaceful. From other perks, nothing will change more really. Stoneform will continue to remove bleed, poisons and disease effects, but will no longer remove Rogue's Blind, so note that down for yourself. Living in snowy mountains made dwarves resistant to Frost School of Magic, and it's gonna stay that way. Lastly, the most interesting and fun racial perk is Find Treasure. It's highly useful for rogues as they can sneak around, CC, pick lock and steal chests hidden all over the world. In the Outland, these types of lock boxes and chests are gonna have quite valuable items inside, so don't forget to visit them every now and then. Race which is being called Short by dwarves. Gnomes are receiving slight change to one of the racial abilities as well. Luckily for gnomes, it's gonna be a buff to their escape artist. As in TBC, it no longer requires cast time and now it's instant, allowing gnomes to break CC right away, but on somewhat longer cooldown, 1 minute and 45 seconds, but it's still under 2 minutes though. I couldn't find any logical reason why would gnomes have such resistance towards arcane magic, but they do still. And the last two racial perks kinda go hand in hand. You can't invent such modern contraptions without being as intelligent as gnomes are. Their engineering skill is by default decreased by a whole 15 points, and they are naturally savvy, shown through Expansive Mind passive ability which increases their calculated intellect by 5%. Night Elves are historically very important and their abilities and spells are pretty much set in stone through Vanilla and TBC. If you have played Warcraft 3, you will know what I'm talking about. Some of those abilities can be traced all the way back to Warcraft 3 as well, like Wisp Spirit Form upon death, allowing them to move 50% faster to their corpse. Being able to follow Druidic Call just like Taurens, Night Elves are more connected to nature, thus have the nature resistance build-up. Night Elf War Mastery always shined in ambushing and retreating tactics, in their ability to stay still and meld with shadows to become near invisible. But their hand-to-hand combat wasn't lacking either, ever. Agile, elusive and quick, they were hard to hit targets for brutal forces. Even if I'm a true Horde player, I do respect Night Elves and like them a lot as a low race. I think my subscribe button does too. And last race, the counterpart of Horde's Blood Elves, the noble so-called Draenei. They crash-landed on a small isle not too far away from the coast of Darkshore. Biologically they are not goats, but ancient Eredar race. Just like Blood Elves, Draenei are bringing quite new and unique racial abilities. First one being the Gift of the Naru. This healing ability is available to all classes of Draenei race, sadly with longer cooldown. The second racial perk is not really ability but natural talent of gem cutting. It grants the Draenei plus 5 points to their jewel crafting profession. Not as much as, for example, Gnomes are getting for engineering, so Blizzard gave them an additional perk. Shadow damage resistance is increased by 10, like Undeads. And lastly, I like to combine their presence perks into one. Heroic Presence is increasing characters and parties' hit rating by 1%, while Inspiring Presence is increasing characters and parties' spell hit rating by 1%. This is extremely valuable in PvE situations. Hit rating in TBC is playing a major role. Spells cannot miss the target, but they can be resisted by the boss. Even if you reach the spell hit cap, there is still 1% chance that your spell is gonna be resisted. To reach the cap, you sometimes need to jam the hit rating into your gear. This is where Draenei have it easier, and they can jam something different, like haste or spell power. Same goes for melee Draenei. As for when do you get Heroic Presence and when do you get the Inspiring Presence, it goes like this. Warriors, Hunters and Paladins are getting Heroic Presence as they would need it more for physical damage dealing. Inspiring Presence is given to mages, priests and shamans, meaning that Draenei Shaman is way better as an elemental or restoration shaman than enhancement. This would conclude today's guide on race rebalancing and changes that they're going to go through. I'm interested to hear what your favorite race is and why you choose to play it. I'll go first. My favorite are Taurens, because they are really peaceful and great looking. I like voice lines and connection to nature. They're also really friendly, kinda like myself as my friends would say. I'm looking forward to reading the comments. In the meantime, stay safe and have fun playing the game. Until next video. Bye bye!